What's up, Paul? Do you think Donald Trump is a compassionate person?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Okay, so tell me why.
You can just go back to his history while he was in New York, where before his political ambitions, everyone loved him because of what he did for the people of New York. I mean, he put people up.
When you say everybody loved him, that's kind of a... let me ask you a question. Let's talk about his days in New York before he became a politician. What about the thousands of lawsuits against him and how he had to pay out minorities for not allowing them to live in his complexes? Would you call that compassionate? Would you call it compassionate during the Central Park Five when he put out an ad in the paper wanting them to get the death penalty, and then when they were proven innocent since then, he hasn't apologized? Would you call those things compassionate? Because to me, compassionate...
Yeah, of course.
Wait, hold on. So it's compassionate to say that you want 5 minorities getting the electric chair, and then when they're found innocent, not apologizing for what he did. That's compassionate?
Yeah, of course it is. Let me go camp out on your front yard, and you want me out of there. Is that compassionate of you to let me camp out in your front yard?
What does that have to do with what I just said?
You're going to want me gone.
What are you talking
you're
about?
You're going to want me gone.
What is being on a private property?
What is wrong with him? Oh, my God, he's a Trumpite. Oh,
are you going to have a conversation, or are you just going to say...
Okay. Is this a prank call?
Hold on.
No, all right,
so let me repeat that. Let me repeat that again.
Be serious, Brian. This is a crank phone call.
Okay, so let's one person at a time. I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
But...
So, I just asked you a specific question, and it has nothing to do with what you just said, so I'm going to ask it again.
I heard your question.
Okay, so answer it appropriately.
I'm going to answer it appropriately.
Please
because
do.
I don't know of anything about these 5 people and all that.
Of course
I don't
you
know
don't.
what Trump
How
did
convenient. Well, guess what? I don't know anything about all these people that you say love them either. So I guess we're even.
Well, I mean,
let me educate you. Okay, so let me. So
there's
let me.
a lot of people
Okay,
that don't like
so fair enough. So let's have this conversation. There were 5 minorities. They were teenagers. Okay.
Correct.
They were accused of a brutal murder and rape of a young woman. At that time, Donald Trump put out an ad in the newspaper saying they all deserve the death penalty. Since then, they were released, they were found not guilty, and they were wrongfully accused. Since then, Donald Trump has not apologized or said he was wrong. Why is it then when somebody like Ahmaud Arbery gets lynched by a bunch of white people, Donald Trump doesn't put an ad out in the newspaper saying he wants them to get the death penalty? Why is it minorities, sir? Is that just a coincidence?
Well, I mean, who does he help mainly? Who has he helped? If you go back historically, who has he helped? He hasn't helped white people.
Let me chime in on this, Paul. Paul, let me chime in on that because you brought it up and you said let me dissect a little bit of what you said. You said that he helped the people of New York before he was president of the United States. What the heck are you talking about? Before he was president of the United States, he was a TV star, right? He was on a TV show, and so he was a celebrity. But yes, he had a business career in New York that benefited what? The Trump organization, the Trump family. He was in business. Time out. Let me finish. All right. He was in business for himself. All right. When you talk about people liked him. All right. Let me tell you something. I'm a Democrat. All right. I thought he was kind of funny on TV. Great. Oh, well, let me finish again. You don't need to jump in every time when I'm talking. All right. When I watched him on TV, I thought he was kind of funny. He's kind of a funny TV guy, right? I thought he was entertaining on television. I also am someone who is in my 5th decade, so I remember Donald Trump when it was the 80s and the 90s, and Donald Trump was he was kind of a pop icon because he was a symbol of success in New York City. Didn't really reflect the reality of his situation as far as him as a business person. He's not somebody that you hold up in the business community and say, "Oh, let's be like Donald Trump." That's not the case. But yes, he was a pop icon symbol of success. So I don't know what you're talking about when you say he helped the people of New York and that he was somehow beneficial.
Well, let's let Paul answer.
It doesn't make any sense.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, I mean, what do you want to know? How did he help people?
Okay.
So he's helped numerous of people. I mean, there was the lady that the big real estate agents were trying to get her out of her house. He put her up. There's been movie stars that were down on their luck, didn't have money. He put them up.
Okay, so he helps the movie stars.
He's giving out thousands of.
All right, let me ask you a question, Paul. The argument is whether he's a compassionate person. Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
That's the argument.
Sure. So days after John McCain died and had the funeral, Donald Trump wasn't talking about the good man John McCain was. He was talking about how he wanted credit for John McCain's funeral. Is that a compassionate person? Yes or no?
That's not what I don't remember recalling.
Of course you don't.
Why wouldn't you remember that?
Okay,
why wouldn't you remember that?
Let's take Paul at his word. Hold on. Paul doesn't seem to remember that.
Okay.
No. If you don't
losing himself, he didn't want to be part of it.
No,
and he
wrong.
was asked not
Wrong.
to go to the
Wrong.
funeral.
The McCain family. The McCain family didn't want him there, but that's not what my question was. He wanted credit for the funeral, and it's interesting you don't. Okay, let's move to something else. I'll kind of try to entertain it.
Yes.
When Colin Powell died, Donald Trump wasn't talking about what a wonderful person Powell was. He was attacking his policies. Is that somebody with compassion?
Considering that Colin Powell was basically kind of traitorous towards him,
so you're defending that.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
How is Colin Powell traitorous?
At the same token, I didn't agree with what he did. I had a lot of respect for Colin Powell.
Okay, well, this isn't about you. This is about Donald Trump.
Here's the thing I always tell everybody, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's not about Democrats and about Republicans, which is what modern media wants to do. It's not this bloodbath against each other, because our founding fathers created both parties so that America could be flexible.
Okay, can I go with that?
You're just making a general.
Hold on,
Paul.
let's go with that.
Statement
Paul,
right now that doesn't have anything to do with the conversation.
Hold on, Paul. Let's go with that.
No, it does.
Paul, hold on. Paul,
yes,
let's go with that.
Yes, sir.
You don't think people should attack each other and you shouldn't have a bloodbath, right? How many nicknames does Donald Trump have for Republicans and Democrats? How many times has Donald Trump attacked somebody on social media? How many times has Trump gone after women based on looks? As far as Mexicans, these people crossing the border, they're bad people. And I suppose some of them are good people. Going after women, going after Ted Cruz's wife based on looks. If you don't want a bloodbath, then why would you support Donald Trump, who attacks every single person that disagrees with him? You're contradicting yourself.
I'm not contradicting myself. I look at the totality of everything. I mean, nobody.
Yes, you are.
We're not talking about the totality of everything. We're talking about Donald Trump, and you won't admit the fact that he is absolutely divisive.
You won't let me talk, bro. You won't let me talk.
Well, you keep changing the subject.
Okay. I'm not changing the subject. I'm sitting here saying everybody has faults. He's not a perfect man. Has he been a perfect man his whole 76 years, 74, whatever?
Nobody's saying he's perfect. Nobody's saying he's perfect.
Okay.
Why are you bringing that up?
You're trying to pull stuff back from 20, 30 years.
Oh yeah, crazy that we would.
Hold on. One person at a time. Paul, what you just said is
it's not
Paul.
crazy.
Paul, you're going to stop now. Paul, you just said something that is not factually accurate. I am not bringing up everything that is 20 or 30 years ago.
Everything.
Hold on. I brought up a number of things that he's done in the last 4 or 5 years as president. So what you're saying is not factually accurate. Yes, the Central Park 5 was many years ago. I am talking about the statements about saying, how about this? I won the election in a landslide. Joe Biden cheated. What about January 6th? Did that happen 30 years ago?
No, that happened within the last 5 years.
What do you think about that when he was sitting in his ass in his chair watching January 6th on TV for 5 hours, not willing to put out any type of video? What do you make about him lying till today and saying that he won the election in a landslide? Do you have a problem with that?
No, I don't, because I live in Georgia, and I do believe it was a farce here in Georgia.
You believe
wrong,
that?
then.
Where are you getting? And where are you getting
that? You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
And where are you getting that? Okay, so let's go with something called a fact.
Yes.
That was certified in the state of Georgia. Donald Trump had 62 chances in a courtroom to prove that was not a legitimate election. No proof of that. No evidence of widespread voter fraud. I guess if you believe the earth is flat, you're entitled to your opinions, but it doesn't make it right. Where is your direct evidence that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, sir? Hear it. Let's hear it.
Now, WSB.
I'm sorry?
WSB. Go back and look at all
it's
the
TV
videos
station
and all that.
in Atlanta, right? WSB?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I asked you for direct evidence, and your only response is a TV station? All right, listen, Paul.
You cut me off. I was telling you, WSB, go look at all their...
no, I'm not going to look at it. Give me the evidence. No, I'm not going to look at it. I want to hear it from you. What is the direct evidence that Donald Trump won the 2020 election? Surely, if you come up with a claim like that...
You're going to have to look at it for yourself.
Because you have
what I would say is hearsay. But what I would say would be hearsay, correct? So if you want direct evidence,
no, what you're saying isn't hearsay. What you're saying is idiotic. I appreciate you calling in, Paul.
Okay.
Donald Trump did not win. Donald Trump did not win the 2020 election, and
he did.
Okay.
He did.
Well,
you
know what?
The
Earth is flat. No, we're not going to agree to disagree. You're entitled to your own opinions, not your own facts, and you don't have any.